Good morning! Welcome back to the greenhouse. I'm going to show you what's growing and going on today in here and out in all the garden space.
Life is a winding road, no telling where it goes. Driving through days and nights, won't stop for traffic lights. And I really wanna know,
So I'm not by myself today. I'm with
Me.
you.
I lost my tooth yesterday.
Yes, you did. I'm here with Leroy, and we are going to just check how everything's growing because it's about 6 o'clock in the morning and he got me up, so he can come help me this morning, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're all up for it. You like to go outside in the morning. It's nice out this morning, so this is wonderful. So let's tell them what we got going on in the greenhouse, Leroy.
This is fennel, and it's super tall, and it's starting to flower. This is parsley. We put it in salads. It's a really great green to cook with. This is the lemon bulb. It smells really good. Charlie! This is mint. Mom puts it in her drinks, but she never shares it with me. These are carrots. The whole roll is carrots. And we picked one another other day, and it was about this big. We have tomato plants by the carrots right here, right here, right here, right there, right there.
What's on them?
Flowers.
The spinach I was trying to save for seed over here has either died or isn't quite ready for seed yet. So we've kind of got this like awkward in-between stage with it that we would like to get to. So hopefully some does, so I can save some of that spinach seed that I left in. I need to clean up in here, and mornings like this is when I should be doing it. So maybe after I'm done filming today, I will clean up a little bit in here. The things that we still have growing in here are doing well. The kale is doing well. We did get some bugs on it. I was nervous we were going to get aphids on it because those aphids kind of ended somewhere back there. And there are no aphids on it, thankfully, but some bugs did try eating it. And then our turnips are looking great, and so are our radishes. Just this small amount we ended up having planted. Some didn't come up, so that's kind of where we're at with that. We haven't eaten any of this yet, and it's official. We're out of greens. At least fresh greens. We do have some in the freezer.
Gracie just walked through the onion bed. Otherwise, it's looking good.
So these herbs up here are doing really well. I need to save some. Hopefully I can get to it this week. I still didn't get my drying rack up yet, but hopefully this week. And then this other bed of onions is doing fairly well considering we're getting weeds in it a lot. So a lot of weeding is having to be done over there. And then our second year onions that are in there are starting to flower, which is exciting because I want to get seed from those.
This zucchini has been flowering. It is growing very good. I can see flowers everywhere on this one. And there's a flower that it was right here, but it's gonna turn into some zucchini. Planted sunflowers over here to make it right by our fort, to make this big fort we can play in. It's about an oval, and then to grow all the way over to here so we can walk in and out. Huh.
I don't see the fort.
The fort's right there.
No, the sunflower fort.
Oh. There's a sunflower right here.
Is it an imaginary fort?
No. They'll start growing. They're just starting to come up. cucamelons, I only had one sprout, but it is growing very good. We're gonna grow it so it goes across this, up this. And our peas, we've been getting peas. And there's lots of flowers.
What you got there?
Some weeds. And I'm giving them to the pigs. Hey, pigs. Hey, pigs. Oh, Mom. Smokey had a hat.
So outside the garden, the potatoes are doing really well. We're hoping we get a decent harvest off of these. We have to really be heavy on watering them and taking care of them. They were seeming to settle a little bit, so we're watering them a lot more from the sides now, as well as the top. The onions in front of the garden and the flowers are doing really well. This just does seem to be like the perfect spot. The onions are small, but they just look so happy. Our cucumber trellises are growing really fast. In fact, I was out here last night making sure the cucumbers, we're trying to keep them growing on the trellis and not like this side chicken fence here, the garden fence, trying to keep them off of growing up the hose and things like that. And I was out here yesterday and already last night, and I can see that there are spots where it's trying to grow in the wrong spot again. So I will be fixing that up this morning here. Almost all of the dill that came up on its own in the garden is already flowering. The dill that I planted right back there is just starting to flower. So cabbage is doing well. I am probably going to be picking some of this cabbage this week. Some of these heads are about the size of my palm, I would say. So they're not huge. They are more of a variety that's kind of oval shaped or teardrop shaped as opposed to round. And I just want to make sure I'm harvesting them before they start splitting. Leroy is pulling all of our lettuce out. It looks pretty decent probably from where you're standing, but it's starting to get to that point where it just doesn't taste good anymore. We tried to have some with our supper last night and it was just like, yeah, a little too fast.
I liked it.
You liked it? Well, you can take it inside and eat it.
No.
So he's gonna pick that and give it to the pigs. We're trying to keep them fed after we switched their paddock and they just kind of ate it all up. We're trying to just keep things going for them. We are hoping we end up with quite a few zucchini for them.
The wheelbarrow, it was broken and I fixed it. It was missing a bolt, but we didn't have any of the right bolt. And then we got from a garage sale from Mom the right bolt, but it was getting thrown around so much because we couldn't use it. So the bolts, 2 bolts snapped out. So I had to redo those bolts and put them back in and put another bolt in, and then I fixed it. But there's one problem still. The bottom's bent right here.
You making it work?
Yeah, but it makes it tip over easy.
Ah. So all that dill, more over here in the garlic, you can see it flowering. The sunflowers that are coming up in here are starting to form heads, which is exciting. The sunflowers in the back of the garden are still growing, so some of those are about waist high, some much shorter, but they're still growing. The garlic in here is going to be ready to harvest soon. There's a little bit here that I think accidentally got stepped on. The kids have been out here every morning for sure, and sometimes every afternoon picking red raspberries. So I'll show you how those are looking. The red raspberries are just in full swing. I would say maybe a few days ago we just started picking off of them, and now we're getting a decent amount where we need to pick them a couple times a day. Now, if you've been with us for a while, you know we've struggled with the spotted wing Drosophilus, which is that little bug. It's like laying eggs in berries specifically, and then they hatch into like these white worms, and some people just go ahead and eat them. I'm not super comfortable with it. So one thing we found works for us is just keeping the berries picked. So we're keeping them picked really well. I did look at some traps and things, but I don't necessarily want to attract them to this area in general. Not that they're not probably already here. But we're keeping these raspberries picked and making sure none fall on the ground so that we don't have any spots where they can lay their eggs. So any that are not looking great, the kids are tossing to chickens or pigs, so they're getting eaten right away. Same thing with the strawberries. They've been out, the kids, every morning picking. You can see there's a couple already ready to pick this morning. So probably when Leroy's done here, I bet he'll be berry picking, huh? Mm-hmm. And then what are the other berries that we've been picking a lot?
Blackberries.
The wild black raspberries they're in. So we picked maybe, Leroy, how many did we pick last night? Maybe
2 whole jars.
2 pints?
In the morning.
So about a quart worth of wild black raspberries. The tomato plants, I've been out here twice now just clipping them up. So they are really growing. I haven't had a whole lot of time to prune, and I think this happened last year, and then I ended up needing to use like a snips or a scissors to prune because it's just so thick. And the problem is then some of those spots where they needed pruning are going to start growing flowers and tomatoes, and I'm probably pushing it off a little too far. Now I typically don't like to heavily prune. I want to take off for sure probably the bottom leaves. We tend to notice that we get blight a little bit there because they're down by the ground. With the wood chips, we don't get like a lot of the dirt splash back, so that I think really does help, and it does keep the moisture in here. Now we've got our drip tape irrigation along these tomato lines, but I actually don't have any water running to it yet. So we've been just watering everything in here from above, and that's not necessarily the best for the tomatoes, but all of our other plants really like that. And Matt and I kind of have a little bit of a theory on it that bugs don't really typically care for water, and when we're watering from above, we just are watering off any bugs. So we're thinking that's why we are doing pretty well as far as bug damage goes this year, because we're watering quite a bit and we're watering from above. Our green beans are doing well. As you can see, the ones down here towards this end of the garden are quite a bit smaller than the ones closer to that tree there, which I thought I was going to have trouble growing things close to the tree, but that doesn't seem to be the problem. We have just a few that are starting to get like little buds where they're going to flower, but really not too much going on with them yet. We've had a mixture in the celery of growth. Some are still only a couple inches tall. This one is probably a good 6 inches, but they're really hardy and doing well. Same with the kohlrabi. The kohlrabi kind of has a variety of growth. This one right here darn near looks like cabbage size or broccoli size, but there's nothing growing on them yet, no bulbs. I think the kids forgot these black raspberries again. They keep forgetting about these ones in the back of the garden. Look at all these. I actually found some a couple days ago in the back of the chicken area, right along the woods line here. They were growing into the chicken area, so we just picked the top row. We actually had to turn off the electric fence to do it, and then we didn't pick towards the ground because we figured the chickens will be enjoying those.
Just let both of them.
The peppers in the garden are doing great. The bell peppers are the ones right here, and I'd say overall they're all growing really well. We do have a couple plants this row here that just looks amazing. Matt did say he saw some flowers on some plants yesterday, but I'm not seeing them, so he was probably looking really close. And those hot peppers, I got a variety too of how they're doing. It looks like the natapenos and the jalapenos, I would say, are doing the best. Well, thanks for joining us for another just kind of seeing how it's growing. We hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up. I'm glad you got to see us again. Bye.